because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend in honor of our nation's founding in 1776. We are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way. Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago.
That was such a weird end. Did he know about it until 30 minutes ago? Why would he put that in? What did that have to do with anything? So he's writing a check to the soldiers, which sounds, I don't know, maybe you think that that's good. You know, they do work to protect America. Maybe it would be nice to give them a little bit of money as a result of the tariffs. What if I told you that's not actually what's happening at all, and he's lying to you? Also, by the way, the cover story, I'm going to critique. That wouldn't actually be a good thing, but he wants you to believe that they're going to be sending these checks. This is, by the way, he has one policy tool internationally, is tariffs. He has one domestic tool, cut people a check. That's all he can ever think of. So let's just be clear about that. So what he's having you believe is that they're going to take $2.5 billion out of the money they brought in tariffs, which is, depending on when you talk to Trump, it's 100 billion, 200 billion, literally trillions of dollars. He has no idea. By the way, they can't legally just take money out of that and do whatever they want with it. That's not actually legal, but let's assume that Congress would bow down, which they almost certainly would. I don't actually think that that's all that awesome, because you know how we got that tariff money? He made stuff more expensive here. So I don't know, taxing us with your tariffs and then giving us back a little bit of the money that you charged us isn't exactly as generous as you're making yourself out to be. You're not actually Scrooge at the end of A Christmas Carol. You're still far more like him at the beginning, actually. Turns out, though, that's not actually what's happening at all. This is not new money that's being taken out of the tariff pool. Instead, he is going to be taking money that was already congressionally allocated towards soldiers' housing and just repackaging it as this 1776 gimmick. Hegseth is on board with this. He's pretending that this is new money. It's not. Congress already appropriated $2.9 billion to the, Hegseth calls it the Department of War. That's his preferred bureaucratic pronoun. To supplement the basic allowance for housing entitlement. It's not new. They were already going to do it. I mean, they're doing it in a slightly different form, but the money was already going to be allocated to help out the soldiers. So again, I guess it's somewhat savvy, Michael. Politically, I guess it looks like he's doing something that benefits the troops. And for a guy who has such a long history of bad mouthing them, denouncing the very concept of service behind closed doors, I guess I prefer it when he looks like he's helping them out. Just since they're already struggling with prices because of his tariffs, I don't know how much it's actually going to help them. But what do you think?
Yeah, I will see what happens with this money. He's promised money before that hasn't come. The fact that he's calling it warrior sort of defines, and the Department of War and the Secretary of War. You teased something about Venezuela earlier. There's this sort of bellicosity that's coming out of the White House with this, that it's not just some friendly Christmas gift, but it's a way of him talking about our military being warriors. The other thing that you said that's spot on is that whenever he wants, he buys support with checks that have his name on them, and there is a gimmick to it. I think also when you're giving money to the military, it's politically safe because active duty military are prohibited from talking to the media and speaking publicly about anything political, so that they can't say, well, I didn't get all this money, or I feel like this is, it's still too expensive to live in this country and we should be paid more. So you're giving money to people that need to remain silent politically, and that's there's a cleverness to that as well.
That is a great point. Also, another way to look at it, and maybe this is me being pessimistic. So you're telling me that they just passed in Congress a nearly $1 trillion defense bill, and our soldiers still need extra random help? Like, you can't pay them enough for them to live with the $1 trillion that we're allocating? This doesn't make me excited for the soldiers. This makes me think that a comprehensive audit of the Pentagon is really necessary and overdue.
That's a really good point. The Pentagon, with all that money that went to in that bill, doesn't need a tip jar, and that's what this is. Exactly. You're absolutely right. Yeah.